live in a highly interactive world. We live in a world where communication has been made so simple that it's almost impossible to avoid socializing. Texting, calling, FaceTiming, emailing, all these forms of prompt exchange of information invites us to build connections, and even force us sometimes by inventing this disgusting little function that shows a tiny eye on the bottom of the screen that says, "Oh, I read this message." Yet, as an ENFP, I find most socializing activities pleasurable. Therefore, I would always end up being the one in the group to break the ice after experiencing awkward moments of silence and suffocating eye contacts. When we communicate with others, aside from pieces of ourselves that we're handing over, the language we use to communicate, one important aspect that influences both participants subconsciously is sex, or the biological differences between men and women. Because we undoubtedly act and speak differently when we engage with people of different sex. However, as we lay our eyes on society, it may seem like gender, or the socially constructed characteristics of men and women are influencing our perceptions and actions on a greater scale. Take my teenage friends as an example. Well, when my female friends are doing not that, that's the wrong picture, are doing that, and that. My guy friends are so what made us disparate? And how can we try to justify these daily actions into potentially trends and categories? The idea of gender first appeared in 1955 to classify human characteristics. Yet the action of appointing specific roles for both sexes can be dated all the way back to the Paleolithic era, where men are generally responsible for hunting and women responsible for nurturing children and preserving culture. However, the gradual domination of men in every level, holding power in families, acquiring status in companies, manipulating people in political parties, are accompanied by the justification of gender roles, such as concluding that men are stronger, more independent, more assertive, while women are more sensitive, more caring, more graceful. The male domination and adjectives that serves as labels to falsely categorize actions with genders serve as catalysts that ultimately transform primary gender roles into the modern patriarchal society. Imbalance in power became the cradle of sexism. It separated people by gender and hunts every aspect of our lives. I've heard older generations paying less attention to female students choosing majors, since they believe that women are going to be married after graduating and be dependent on their significant other. I've heard people objectifying women in other countries as a solution to solve the gender population gap in China, which ironically is the direct result of families preferring boys over girls for decades. We've all seen some sort of how ridiculous and prejudiced people are in society, yet it still scares me when I encounter real-life examples of how these ideas are internalized and accepted. With that in mind, I actually want to draw our attention back to the word sexism. The dictionary definition of the word is prejudice or discrimination based on sex, especially discrimination against women. But how often do we think about discrimination and sexism towards men when this word comes across our minds? By the show of hands, how many of our male audience today has helped a girl carry a bag or a coat or something? Well, I have. Starting at a very young age, I was told to do so. I was told to give up things I liked a lot because a girl in my class wanted them. I was told to let a girl get her food served first. I was told to consider a girl's opinions over mine. I was puzzled at first. I thought it wasn't fair, so I asked why. And the reason I received every time was because she's a girl. One second. Yes. As I grew and understand more about this world and understand that not everyone has the same opportunities or is treated the same way, I attribute these actions I do as being respectful and caring, and maybe even compensations for all the inequalities the female population is confronting on a daily basis. Yet, the idea of hypermasculinity, or the stereotypical exaggeration of male characteristics and behaviors, has harmed both us as men and females in society. Men are traditionally viewed as the ones to take initiatives in relationships, and the ones to put in more effort and cash. Men are viewed as the breadwinner of a family. Men are viewed as independent and tough at all times. But that's not always the case in reality. The sets of regulations and stereotypical actions tagged on the male population are stressful. Allow me to explain. When I recollect memories from childhood, pieces of memories regarding my father's words were missing. But he wasn't missing. He would drive me to classes, he would take me to nice restaurants, he would teach me how to play sports. He was there when I needed him, but I just cannot think of a time when he told me that he was having a hard time or he wasn't feeling well. We never had a profound conversation similar to the ones I had with my friends late at night. That was always the time for his cigarettes in the hallway and the time he keeps to himself. He's always the somewhat collected and solemn person that I look up to. And it wasn't until recent years that I could sense some minute signs that tells me that maybe he is not and shouldn't be that strong. In fact, if we take a look at this graph, we see that the male suicide rate is just steadily twice as female suicide rate. Just. This drastic difference springs from self-doubt, from self-deprecation, from suppressed emotions, and from the stress to raise a family. In addition, it also rises from the fear of being less productive and less brilliant when compared to females, because that goes against with the roles that were appointed to us, like a slap across the face while saying, "You let us down." However, the sarcastic part of all this harm that derives from the quote-unquote masculinity is that we are living in a world created and dominated by males. We're experiencing all these biases and all this discrimination for nothing. No one really benefits from it, even though it might seem that men are less affected given their dominance and power. The fingers pointed towards women are only reinforcements that justify initial and existing biases. The misogyny, the invisible prejudice would only separate us, and their backlashes, side effects, for men in this world that we've created. On the contrary, it is also important to acknowledge that the separation caused by our own creation could be closed by empowering each individual. The empowerment of women does not only come with the fact that women are just as capable and just as strong as men in running companies, in doing rocket science, etc. It also comes with the realization that no roles are more important than others. My parents bought their first BMW in '06, which my mom, a senior manager at the time, used to drive to work. She would hear gossips behind her back saying she wouldn't take her job too seriously, presumably due to the car she drives. And apparently, it made a lot of sense that time. Yet when she proved that she does her job better than anyone else, gossips changed to her working overtime and my sad family. But she chose to work extra hours and be the best of the best, as her WeChat signature shows. And that allowed her to thrive in her career. Inspiring, strong, independent women, right? I know. But more importantly, the empowerment comes with the common understanding that each parent has different obligations to ensure that the family would function. And not everyone in a family needs a fulfilling career to be seen as empowered. For example, women are biologically determined to give birth. Yet this shouldn't be viewed as less important than her significant other going to work and raising the family. The empowerment of individuals and equality regained from it comes with the fact that no roles are more important than others. And as women are slowly yet steadily gaining more economic status in society, that also changes their social status as well. The imbalance of power mentioned previously is slowly diminishing. And parents could take on different roles from traditions, and they're all equally important. However, aside from realizing these ideas that makes our world more equal, there's little we could do as teenagers to change the world or push the tides around. So start simple. Help a guy carry something when he seems struggling. Be less gossipy about a girl's relationship status. Because, after all, what we do, what we say, and what we think are not products of society and its expectations, but sparks of our individuality. And these labels are not made to separate us, but allow us to simply understand how special we are. Thank you.